Hello and good morning, all of you open spokers. I am doing this while driving, so you may see me not looking at the camera. I'm currently stopped at a stoplight, so I can do that right now. But I wanted to spend a little bit of time thinking about something that's going on in my district and maybe helping me to think about it. So the thing that we are doing right now is trying to shift from a concept of professional development to professional learning. And that is a shift that we are undertaking, and a number of different departments are undertaking. And the shift, as we think about it, is a shift from professional development being done to you and professional learning as something where you are an active participant in the learning, because you can't be a learner without being active, right? That doesn't really work. You can be somehow developed or sort of pursuing development on somebody else's terms, but you can't actually learn on somebody else's terms. So in this shift, there are a lot of things that have to happen. And one of the big things that we're sort of working on is, how do we create systems of choice in professional learning? How do we allow for people to choose their own path? And even more than that, how do we start from a strengths base or an asset base rather than a deficit base? And so a lot of professional development is centered around the idea that there are things that are wrong with your practice or that are that you need fixed, right? And so because of that, it becomes really troubling the way in which we organize our professional development. We are really focused on what are those individual skills, especially because we have a framework for effective teaching. What are those individual indicators on the framework that you are struggling with? And so we focus on those. But how can we, in this shift from professional development, something you don't own, to professional learning, something you do own, how do you make that shift towards choice? And how do you make the shift towards an asset or strengths base, where you are asking questions about what are you really good at, and how do we leverage those things in order to make sure that you have this strong base of instructional knowledge, of pedagogical knowledge. How do you make sure that you have all of the things you need in order to teach kids or adults? And so I keep on sort of tossing this around in my head, and I've got, some ideas around it. One idea is to really try and figure out what are the right questions that both get at strengths as well as things that you need to work on that don't seem like you're only focused on one or the other. Because I don't think it has to be one or the other, but how do you sort of shift the focus from what did you get on your observation score to looking at only, what you are doing really well and saying that's the only thing that matters. So my hope is that by asking better questions of one another, that we can get to this idea of a strength space. And I guess my question to you is, how would you make that shift from professional development to professional learning? And how would you make that shift from, no choice and no ownership to choice and ownership and strength space? And what kinds of questions would you ask people to make that shift? How would you frame it for folks? So my hope is that that as Fellowship of the Open Spokes, that we can help one another do that. And I'm really excited to sort of have that conversation and sort of continue it as we go. Thanks for watching my while driving video. Hopefully it wasn't too crazy for you. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.